How you going, guys? So welcome back to the sixth video on the back of the Jag. So what I'm going to try to do today, I'm not sure if the weather's going to hold or not, but I may get the opportunity to put some etch on this thing, so I'm going to try and get it ready. I'm going to have a quick clean up around the shop, and then hopefully I'm going to have this another quick DA double check, make sure there's no other little blemishes I want to sort. Apart from the ones I sort of can't do anything about until we get the final welding on the backs of those guards and stuff like that, whether in the pillar sort of area where we put those new panels in. But I want to try and get all the rest of this front sorted. The bloody to blow down and to clean up. You want to quickly DA, or I'll DA it first, blow it down, clean it up, give it some wipe down with something to make sure there's no grease and shit on it. I'll put the wheels on it, and then I'll get it down on the ground, and then I'll start masking it out. Hopefully, we had a whole heap of newspaper and stuff here, but but unfortunately the young fella gets pretty keen and starts freaking trying to make stuff out of it. So I'm not sure what I'm going to use to mask this up. Hopefully I've got enough newspaper or I can blind enough. So that I'm going to have to go try and find a big roll of that plastic sheeting somewhere, but unfortunately being a Saturday, I'm just not 100% sure where to get it from in this town. And if I do have to go to town to Invercargill, well, I'm going to have to sort of go there and sort of nowish to figure out what I need to find. So anyway, I'll get started. I'll have a bit of a sort out here, get some tools out of the road so I'm not tripping over stuff, and then I'll give this another quick DA and all that sort of stuff. So we'll carry on. Cheers. Oh, before I go anywhere, Dan from DD's Speed Shop, you prick, you found another Mopar. Mate, the bug's going to bite hard, you watch it. Right, I'll get to it. Right, what I've done, I've just changed apps. I don't know why, I have a wee bit more control over the light here. See, I'll just hold my finger in there and lock it. I find it's one gripe I've got with this. It's actually just done a video on this gimbal. And now the DJI, I think it's Mimo app or whatever it's called. Even though you lock the the white balance on different things, like there's different settings to lock it. Like, there's like night and dark, or was it sunny, cloudy, dark or dusk, or whatever it is. And there's a couple of different settings for different lights. It's still, they need to put a touch lockout thing for the brightness to stop changing, because I've noticed sometimes if you change the position, all of a sudden it'll just go, the whole screen just goes really dark, and it's a pain in the ass. On my other apps, if I leave it on auto, it will do the same sort of thing, but at least on the other apps I can actually physically lock the white, but the brightness, so it won't change. So yeah, because I've switched back to my normal camera app now. It would be nice if you could still track yourself, but you can't. But depending on the situation and the lights and stuff behind you, it's really fussy. They need to fix that so you can either go in there and set it for your different days, but then once you've sort of got a light setting that you like, you should be able to just touch the screen and lock it. It would be bloody nice if you can do that, or something. hopefully they can see that at some point, because yeah, it frustrates me because sometimes it plays up bad. It depends on the day and the lighting and the time of the day. Oh yeah, it's just like, it can be a real annoyance because you have it set up so it's sort of looking at you and you think, oh, I'll just shift it down a little bit, and all of a sudden it'll just go, and it's like you got to start and stop and pitch around, you know, if you want to move it a little bit or whatever. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but anyway, I'll get back to it. So if you want to watch that video that I was just talking about, the one on the gimbal, I'll put a link in the description. But it should have been up probably a couple of days by the time I've pissed around doing this. At the point of video, I haven't put it up, but I'll come up tonight, probably. As long as I don't have any more dramas in my life. Hold on, brother. Hold on. Right, back at it. Thanks, Arco. Hopefully you sort your power steering problem or your steering rack problem. Anyway, you'll get a go of that when you see that. It said something I was just watching too this morning, was Arco's DA orbital video. Yeah, I'd really like to try one of those palm sanders. Like this one here, it's probably very similar to the Harbour Freight one he was talking about, but this one is Well Made brand, and it's made, I'm not sure where these are made. I could be guessing. I'm not sure. I think Well Made's either British or American. I paid well over $100 for this, and this has always been good. But like Arco says, like I had a cheap one in Australia because I didn't want to spend another $100 buying one when I had a good one over here. But yeah, these do vibrate a bit and all that sort of stuff, and are fairly noisy. But I would like to try one of those palm ones, because I have seen plenty of professional guys using them when I, walk into a body shop, over the times. I've seen plenty of guys use those smaller palm handled ones, because these are heavy too. So it would be interesting to try one of those and just see what they are like. But anyway, getting back to that, and hook and loop. Okay, hook and loop. I've got the sticky back one too, and I've used both. Yeah, and again, I wouldn't buy these again. They'll do the job, but yeah. Like Arco says, like, I love 3M. Personally myself, I didn't buy those things. I've used, there's another place here called, what's the tool shop? God, it's evaded me. Man, I'm not sure if it's just local to here or not. What the hell's it called? Nah, can't think of it. But anyway, when I was doing my BC, I went and bought a whole heap of sanding pad, well, discs and stuff like that to put on these. They were way better, and at the time they were about $28 for a box of 100, and I bought like 80s and 240s and all that sort of stuff. They were really good. They look very similar, but they just I don't know, the guy, because they had 3M there, which were double the price, but he said for half the price these are, you know, they're not full 3M quality, but for half the price, the difference they'll do almost as, you know, like they're getting fairly comparable without throwing money away, if you know what I mean. They weren't, like you might get sort of 3/4 or 2/3 to 3/4 the use out of one of those ones to a 3M one when I was using them at the time. Whereas those, yeah, like 3M stuff, if you get that good yellow, if the yellow ones that give that really good anti-fill setup on them, like that 3M does, man, that stuff lasts a long time. And even when it is getting worn, you know, you can use it for, I find like sometimes you get a bit of worn paper and it's quite handy just for that. If you're just doing like a, you know, so you're priming and you're all ready to go and there's a little bit of shit in the paint, and you don't want something that's like you don't really want a sharp new piece of paper, you just want something to clean a little bit of crap off. Sometimes that 3M stuff, now if it's a little bit worn, it still works really well for that, whereas you get some of the other brands like Norton and some of the other ones I've tried, you know, once they've lost their initial cut, the paper starts falling to pieces, and you know, they turn to shit real quick, whereas the 3M, like, you can use it, and it just, the paper doesn't fall to pieces and the grit doesn't fall off, it just gets blunter. So sometimes that's handy if you just want that little clean, that little bit of crap out of, you know, so you put you get your final, your final prime, and you happen to have a little bit of shit in just one area that you've missed, and you can just, you know, with that real fine sort of worn grit, say you might have a bit of 320 or 240 or something like that, that's sort of really quite warm but will still cut. It's good for that because it's not going to rip through that primer layer and then end up with a funny spot on it. It'll just knock that shit off. But that's, yeah, you know. Anyway, we'll get a new pad on this, and because this is really quite blunt now, it doesn't even look worn. With 3M will get really worn on the edges, but it'll still cut. So that's what I'm so disappointed with that shit. But anyway. That's one little tip, if you're doing body work or spraying or anything like that, practice with both hands, because especially when you're spraying, because sometimes you'll be spraying and you'll get to a piece that's really awkward. So if you're right-handed or left-handed, it'd be really awkward to do with one hand or the other. So if you can just quickly switch the hand, and it's so much more comfortable to do with that hand. But if you get really used to trying to do everything with one hand, you can get good at it. But if you can practice, like especially when you're doing primer and stuff like that, when it's not quite so critical, practice with both hands. And then once you've done a few paint jobs or whatever, I haven't done a lot of paint jobs, but I've done enough now that I can sort of paint with both hands, top coat. I'm still not really, I'm no expert, but I'm getting better. But I find if you practice, especially putting primer on with both hands, you get used to it, and then if you get to a sticky area where it's a real bitch to do with one hand, but you might be half the battle with the other. You know, like say, I don't know, like say you're spraying in here and all of a sudden you're trying to get back in here. So if you come over here, it's really awkward, but if you're just here, you know, like if you're painting inside the engine bay, you can just flick a little bit in it, you know, without trying to come around over here, and then you're reaching, whereas you might be just here and you might be just flick it, like it's so much easier if you can just chuck that gun from one hand to the other. It just makes it really easy, especially if you're doing a big paint job and you think, geez man, that arm's getting tired. Well, you can just switch it and do a bit. You know, you're always going to have one stronger hand than the other, but if you can do like half the main body with just switching, at least then you're not getting really tired with one arm. So, like, especially when you're doing big vehicles, like this isn't a big vehicle. Like that 66 Dodge that I had, that's a mammoth. Like it's, the front end would be out here. Like it's 5.5 meters long. I'm just trying to compare it. I don't even know what that is in feet, but it's big. Like if just like a C-body Mopar, like from the mid-60s, is huge. Like they're big cars. Like it was half a metre longer. So like I'm talking that much longer than my late model car that I had in Australia. Like it was half a metre longer. You know, like it was, and it was wider too. Like they were just enormous. So like that would have been a really hard car to paint with one arm. But if you can, you know, keep switching, you by the time you get to the end, you know, your arms aren't going to be really tired and you're struggling to paint properly. You know, all of a sudden you're getting wavy, you're not getting that nice consistent overlap, like depending on your paint. But yeah, anyway, I'll keep giving this a last little bit of a start, and then I'll start cleaning up and see what I'm going to do for masking. Yeah. Let's switch around here a bit. Right, that's been good. So I'll rub around all the edges and all around all these shitty spots probably 2 or 3 times. It's easier to do it 2 or 3 times than miss something and your initial layer doesn't stick, because I've seen it a million times. Guys paint the cars, and make sure you sand between different coats of paint, because that's your adhesion. Like even before your top coat, basically you want to just give that whole thing just a very light rub, just to key that surface again. But yeah, it's critical that you're better off to do it, go over it a couple of 3 times, and make sure you don't miss any little nook and cranny, than to do it once and like miss a little piece, and then all of a sudden that's where the paint will start lifting, bubbling, and peel off. Anyway, I'll give this a blow down, and then I'll probably then I'll probably start back masking it all. Right, so I can't find any newspapers and stuff, so at home, because I think all the young fellas torn them all up and blown off them and shit. Anyway, so I've just shot down to the local sort of home hardware sort of type place. They've got some cheap drop cloths here for about $4 or whatever they are. I had to check online. So I'm going to grab a couple of those and then probably another couple of rolls of masking tape, because I've only sort of got one part one left, and I've got a wide one that's an old one and it's a bit iffy. So yeah, I'll grab a couple of rolls of masking tape and these couple of drop cloths, and that should do me. And I've got enough tarps and stuff at home that I can just put over wheels and bits and pieces. So we'll get to it. Righty, so I've got some good 3M tape. Mate, I probably would have bought something slightly cheaper, but this is really good, but it was bloody expensive. You know, unfortunately, because I was just going to the local hardware store, it's probably double the price it should be. But anyway, and I've got a couple of these drop cloths. I don't know, they're just cheap things, made in China, distributed by New Zealand. Basically they're, what are they, 4 foot by, must be 6 foot or 8 foot, or, no, 0.4. No, they're about 8 foot by, must be 8 to 12 or thereabouts, or 3.6 by 2.6 metres. So yeah, that'll be perfect to, I can lay one basically in the engine bay, and I'll just back mask it, and then I'll lay it in there and I'll tape it up to it. I'll just try and grab all the extra up in the engine bay, and then hopefully I can drop one over the front and tape it back around the sides and stuff like that. So like tape it back around here and like cover the bulk of this up, and then if I have to cover anything else up, I can just lay it over the back when I get it outside. So if I want to get this engine bay masked up, and at least then I'm not worried about that. So what I'll do first is I'll back mask it all. Actually no, I'll lay the cloth in here first, and then I'll back mask it. So I'll get one of these out of the packet and see what they're like. Like ideally, like I'd actually, if I was staying here, I'd actually like to get one of those big huge rolls that automotive guys use, but I'm not going to use it enough. So
hi guys, how's it going?
Anyway, I'm sure they're good. Righty, so I've got this all masked up. I'm just doing this handheld because it's a bit easier. I've got all masked down the jams. Hopefully I won't need to tape this down anywhere, because I'll be flicking from sort of here back anyway. I won't be going right down into that bottom part of that guard across here, and that should be all good to do. So I'll get the wheels back on it. I've got the opening into the engine bay with a bit of cardboard. I probably could back mask it, but I want to flick a little bit of etch in here, and then eventually we'll, you know, it'll be a wee bit of black blowing in there once we've done the finished painting the car. You know, so that's all masked up now. So hopefully the one drop cloth done it. I might just put a little bit of tape on the bottoms and just try and hold it down to the rockers or the sills, what do you want to call it. I've just put a little bit of masking tape back to A pillar or the B pillar on the roof just to stop it from flapping around, but that'll be perfect. That should get me done what I want to get done. Saves any overspray going into and around the engine, because like we said, we're not going to be painting in there. Why pull something out if it's fine? If the engine had to be overhauled or something like that, or if we do happen to pull it out, or Dad happens to pull it out at some stage, we can, give that a quick clean up in there and flick it around if he really wants to later on. But so this is ready to go. All I got to do is prep wash it now, put the wheels back on it, drop it down, and then cover the wheels up once I get it outside on these couple of planks just in front of the door here, because it's just because of the lip. I don't want to have to try and put a battery in and start it and drive it around, because it's all going to do is tear all that plastic off with the fan and shit. So we'll get it prepped for getting out there, and the day looks like it's going to hold. So I should be hopefully in an hour or so I'll have etch on this, and then I can push it back inside after an hour, and I can start mixing some body filler. Alrighty. Sorry, not Dan. Dave from Scott Rods. This is what you want on your wheels to hold your hubcaps off, or your dog dish caps on. That's the sorts of things they look like. Finally, got it etched. And I managed to dodge the dodgy weather. It was fine up really nice and it clouded back over, but I finally got it etched. Righty, some body filler on this thing. I wouldn't normally use a piece of cardboard, but I'd normally use a piece of glass, but I don't really want to use a piece that I don't know what it's for, so. So that's all the spots that I've sort of attacked and done any work to, or where there was any still any dents from stones and stuff in front that sort of aren't really worth panicking about, just for just a very light dent, but just smear a little skim over them anyway. So I'll let that harden up, and I'll get rid of the worst of it, and then once I've done that, and I'm sort of half happy, I'll may do another little skim. Actually wish I had some like some sort of body glaze, or like U-Pole dolphin glaze or something like that, just to go over it again, but I'll just have to use body for it, and then once I'm sort of half happy, then I'll get a little bit more up in here, because this is where some lead work was, and when we're wire brushing paint and stuff off it, it sort of digs in a bit. It's no biggie. We'll soon blend that back in, because we're still going to sand across the top and everything as well later on. But this is the first initial on the front end, apart from down the back, so those quarter panel, front fenders or quarter panels, or whatever you want to call them. So yeah, like we'll clean it up, and then hopefully once we've done another second and knock that back, I'll get a couple of coats of high build on it, and then we'll go from there, block it, give it a block. Might even put 3 or 4 coats on, and just see what it looks like, and then then we can judge if we need to do any more filling, or just maybe even another just a couple of light spot areas of high build or whatever, if it's just a very minor imperfection. But yeah, hopefully we're not far away. I may need to redo some more, because I just see there's another little dent there and stuff, that like that's almost hidden by the beauty ring, so by the headlight, so I don't have to panic too much. But that's the initial. I'll probably the only other spot that I haven't put any in, and I forgot, is down in here, but it's no biggie. We'll get that for the second, or I can mix up a little bit more later on. But that'll do for now. This video will be plenty long enough, just with the work that I've done today. Alright guys, so I've just demasked the front of the car, and we'll call it quits for this video. So what happens, I'll let this go off, and I'll probably come back out here later tonight and whatever, and I'll probably film that for the next video, but this is getting way too long. So thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit that bell, and we'll see you in the next one when we get this sanded off, and maybe another quick skim coat, and then start putting some high build on it. Alright guys, cheers.